embraced under YCX some of those spicier support picks, right? They're playing the Elise, they're playing the Skarner, they played the Blitzcrank. Maybe we'll get something like that here.
There's a few champions. I mean, look, Camille makes it through. We also still have things like Azir that was actually changed on this patch as well. Makes it so that basically the entire precision tree actually works on him finally. Everybody at home that was still taking Lethal Temple Azir, you're back, everybody. You can finally keep taking and you won't get flamed for it. We were doing B1 Lee Sin. Okay, nothing's changed. We can just go ahead and wrap up the split at this point. I've made it 10 minutes into the actual past the actual night, and we're already gone.
Welcome back, Xiaohao. He's going to be plenty happy that he can put the Lee Sin right at the top of his tier list once again. Only got to play it 3 times in the year so far. I expect to see that count increase as that champion gets a little bit more play. I've been asking forever for them to make that change where he can use already dead champions to knock up other champions. Fantastic change. 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the day when Riot decide, hey, you know what, Lee Sin is not strong enough yet. We're going to give him the Wild Rift treatment and let him ward and use his safeguard anywhere. He doesn't need a ward. That is just he just has a free dash at all times. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the day we get that one out. Everyone's going to lose their mind. Tapping back into the draft, though, we do have Syndra, who has been making some waves, not only in mid lane, but we have started to see some of the tier 2 regions actually start to put this champion in bottom lane. Would be pretty surprised to see that from Shaoye, but with a Skarner, I just think they have a lot of great ways of not only stopping fights, but also starting them.
There it is.
There's Camille. All right.
All right. Nice call on the Perukia. It is right in his wheelhouse. He's going to be happy to be able to play that one nice and aggressive. Love the pairing with the Lee Sin, too. This is a mid laner's nightmare, as these two are going to be flying out of fog in no time at all to make plays happen. The Syndra, the Cassiopeia, will either of them be mid? Will they both be bot lane? That's the joys of drafting in summer 2026. No idea at this point in time. The flexes are flexier than ever.
This is awesome. And remember, we're kind of coming in with we don't know what's really going to be played. A lot of these teams have been scrimming each other, and so they have significantly more knowledge depth than we do as to what's been going on. We only get to get a small glimpse on stage and in these stage games. So the flexes, until they're broken, will be available. You can still try to move some things around. As we get into the back half of these drafts, I'm thinking that EDG, they have some okay burst damage. I do think that they fall a little short range, and that can be, I think, problematic when you're playing into Skarner and Syndra. So just something that's going to be more consistent from the bottom lane. I think Leave has always been a great character at being able to do that, even if maybe we've had some qualms about his positioning. I'm just worried that he might play Jhin this game, because it's kind of shaping up with a Lee Sin and a Camille that you're just going to need to follow up, and you need that range. Also, by the way, Varus has made it all the way through, even though he's received a slew of nerfs this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, kind of reopened up access to that on-hit build, although the lethality build is not dead. I see what you're saying about the Jhin. It feels like EDG, especially if you're going to have Lee Sin Camille, you almost want to have access to a little bit of additional burst that the Cassiopeia doesn't necessarily feel comfortable with. You don't want to need to land the engage combo into Miasma to be able to actually get your pick all the way through. Leave hovering that Ziggs. There he is. Might end up in that direction. You do have the Cassiopeia for that late game DPS. It will be locked in. And that's going with the Camille.
All right. Everybody, what we're going to be doing this game is we're going to be tracking flashes. Flashes are going to be the most important spell in this game. If you are LGD, if you are specifically Tangyuan in this game, you're going to be standing there as Syndra and saying, well, if I get miasma'd, I can't flash. If Lee Sin ward, flash kicks me, I'm also probably dead. And now I have to worry about Camille from Fog with a Ziggs bomb. That sounds miserable. And now I look at these lane matchups, Gordo. You've got Gnar into Mbessa, which can be winning early. You've got Ziggs into Kai'Sa, which is winning early. And I just look across the board, and I feel like LGD are going to have to work from the back foot very early on. And I just don't think that's how you open up a split. I think you need to find some kind of winning lanes here.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, the Maokai is going to be happy with his first draft back on the stage here. Switching from head of coaching staff to just plain old head coach once again, coming back in. You got to talk about former world champions. Maokai going to be in that
True.
conversation as well. And yeah, definitely going to be pleased with what he's been able to put together here. I guess the one note would be LGD's pretty tanky between this Rel and this Skarner. Feels good against something like a Ziggs, but that's the beauty of the Cassiopeia, is that you can get that kind of shred coming out of the mid lane position without necessarily picking one of those more traditional marksmen, and you could make these marksmanless team comps not feel as bad from that perspective of having to deal with the big tanky Skarner.
You know, Ziggs is the exception to the rule, as we say for a lot of mages, but Ziggs is like your exception if you don't have an AD carry. It's like, fine, you're allowed. It resolves, as we say. We're just going to let this one go. You're allowed to hit turrets on this champion, and it blows up everything. We've seen a lot of talk about grubs so far after MSI, so I wonder if we're going to be seeing any kind of extra priority on this, or if it's going to be all the same. But it looks like we're getting ready for game number 1, the start of split number 3. Let's go.
I think we got him. I think that's all we're getting, Alk.
Yeah, seems like the EDG fan leaders are still coordinating.
Still pulling it together, but I am happy to be here regardless. Welcome to split number 3, Alk. Welcome to EDG versus LGD, as already the brawling going to start off at the bottom lane. Leave going to get pulled back. Leave getting thrown away from his turret. Going to be forced to flash, and LGD going to draw those first drops of blood in the bottom lane.
Wow, okay. So, I mean, look, Ziggs is a champion that can be weak in his first few levels as a mage. I thought you could be able to get around this just by being able to wave clear, but some really good finds coming in from Crisp early on means that, I mean, jungler's already pathing down bottom lane. You have to be worried about this. I mean, Xiaohao could potentially pivot here if he really wants to. And I did think about that there potentially could have been an Mbessa with Electrocute matchup. So as long as you have that available to you, LGD could very easily flip some of these matchups that we were potentially worried about in the draft.
Yeah, absolutely here. So, Rukia going to need to find ways to be able to get aggressive angles into this bottom lane, given the fact that Leave was already taken low, already forced to blow his flash. You don't want to be stuck at the back foot for the entirety of the laning phase, but for now they're going to have to look for that recall. Nice little lane advantage for ZDZ up in the top lane as well, with Xiaohao up on this top side of the map. It's going to be a signal that Burdol has to take the early recall as well.
He is super worried, because if they dive him on this timer, or if ZDZ is able to TP back and then, Lee Sin shows up, now you're Mbessa with no TP. You just came back to lane with only a glowing moat. This is very, very dangerous and very risky. I'd actually love if the observers actually were able to show us the actual wave state. Looks like it's crashing in the middle, but he does not want this to push away. His jungler's on the bottom side of the map. Also, Crisp is on the bottom side of the map, and so you have to be extremely worried as this Mbessa for any potential shenanigans going on. And we're also seeing our supports, specifically Perukia, already get active and try to just put down some vision. This Camille champion is a freak of nature in the support.
Yeah, definitely, and expecting to see Perukia really try to push the limits of it to try to find ways to be able to create that early lead for EDG, pair up with Xiaohao, move around the map, already at level 2, looking to find pathways to get on out, as is Crisp, and that's kind of what a more mage-centric bottom lane has really opened up the potential for, and that's where we're a little concerned about this Kai'Sa in the early game, because that's going to leave Shaoye on a 1v1 with Leave, where my man is already getting up to a bit of a CS lead and should be able to maintain at least about a wave advantage, even if Shaoye is able to clean up the rest of the current wave.
Thankfully for him, Shaoye decided that he's going to pick up the call, so that just gives him more access to get more gold and hopefully stay within touching distance of his enemy opponent. And if at any point Leave makes a mistake, once he gets access to the killer instinct, Shaoye can actually punish and find some kind of kills. Tangyuan has to be careful, should just flash if he really feels like he's in danger. I don't know how you felt about this, Gordo, but I need Camille out of the support role like yesterday. very many things wrong, and I feel like this is the exact same reason why we got rid of her in the jungle back in 2018.
Yeah, it's a menace that rears its head from time to time. Probably can be handled with a little bit of a base stat tamp down at some point, and it would not surprise me if we do end up seeing that. You know, new Halo Blades feels solid on her, and just some of those little buffs to try to get top lane Camille back into people's minds have unfortunately caused a return along with the engaged supports, as Xiaoye has to flash. I love Perukia not going for the flash there and knowing that Xiaoye's just got to spend that ability to be respectful.
I'm so sorry, everybody. Anytime I see Camille support now I'm over the hype. I was really excited about this champion last split. I was like, cool. I want to see Camille support. Now that I have not only seen it played at the highest level, but I've also played it, this champion is just not okay. So I'm going to keep ranking on it. We are starting a fight around the scuttle, and I do not like this position for LGD. You have very little damage in this spot, and I mean, you're going to have a Ziggs coming over very soon.
Yeah, Perukia going to be the first target to get attacked, but not going to lose much for it. Xiaohao getting in there on top of Heng. Going to have to flash back over the wall as he does tank the Unleashed power. And the one left out to dry is the Kaisa. First blood goes the way of EDG as Xiaoye hit the dust.
Oh, man. You see Perukia there. Really great stuff from EDG. The sequencing could have been tighter, but generally speaking, I mean, they forced out good summoner spells. They got the flash off from Xiaoye again and from Heng. While all this is happening after, as a kind of piece of consequence, now you get to hit this turret. It's only a single plate going over, but 1,500 gold early on for a team that has both Ziggs and Cassiopeia. That's a pretty big win. That lands like 6 patches ago, but thank God we nerfed this champ.
Indeed we did. And you know what? Normally, we're so conditioned to say, support got the kill. It's not good. Perukia, I don't mind the Camille getting the early kill, man.
Yes,
having that tunneler here early on, first couple of minutes of the game, that's going to really help you out when you're trying to hit some damage thresholds on the likes of the Tangyuan.
Look, Crisp also didn't recall in time, so ZDZ's going to push. Perukia's here, doesn't have Ignite, doesn't have ult quite yet, and with Mininar going down, okay, we're not doing this anymore. Okay, so Burdol gets the wave at the very least, which is good for him. I'm ready for 26-15 as well. I know we just got onto 14 last week, but we have a Sundered Sky nerf that's down the pipeline right now. I'm ready. I'm ready for that to happen.
It's a brand new day when that Sundered Sky is taken away, maybe going to bring back in some of the tankier members of the jungle meta as well. Been missing them for a fair bit. When was the last time you saw Maokai jungle, Sejuani jungle? And don't answer MSI, because I know.
All right, well then I've never
Fearless
seen them.
does things sometimes.
I don't know if I really want to go back to a Maokai meta. I won't lie.
Well,
I think a lot of our casters.
I got bad news about where a Sundered Sky nerf is taking you, brother.
But look, if Maokai's gonna be meta, Lilia's gonna be meta. Okay, we're bringing back the AP junglers. It seems like we're going to get a bit of a scuffle here for some grubs, Gordo. Burdol has TP, so this can be a 5-on-5, but I don't think LGD really want to risk anything. If you lose this fight, there's going to be a Ziggs ult coming in as well. You can't move the Kaisa. I think you're in a really bad spot all of a sudden.
Tangyuan feels like he has found leave in transit, but quick satchel charge to safety will be just fine. Mega Inferno Bomb to clear this wave out and make sure Burdol's not getting too much for free. Now, rotated our bot lane up to the top side, have LGD. So they are also going to simultaneously start the Dragon. Bulldog going to find this. Can Xiaohao get over in time? He and Perukia are en route. Bulldog starting the trade. Smite going to come through. Petrifying Gaze to slow up Heng, but he will successfully retreat. And he gets away with a crime there.
If LGD did not get this Dragon, I would have been very sad for them, because that basically means the game is... It's not over by any means, but it's really tough to play because you've lost the first blood gold that's in the game. You've given over the grubs, and 3 grubs for a team that has Ziggs just is not the place you want to be. And I'm fairly certain that I would assume with the bounties that we're kind of getting to that point.
Full engage on a Xiaohao, and this man just can't move. He gets blown up, And Killer Instinct in from Xiaoye will be able to secure the kill. Heng now looking to land the sting, gets a flash out of Leave. And Burdol looking for some action up on the top side, knows that the Mega's about to expire for ZDZ, try and hunt him down with the Drakehound step. Will let that fish go after a couple more shots. Moves across the map for LGD. They equalize the kills. They get themselves a little bit back.
That feels really good. They did have to expend a lot there. Those 3 ultimates being used, but just the gold by itself. And we also protected Heng's jungle, so able to get him within back to parity with his opponent jungler. Also top lane, I think the Mbessa ult to buffer Gnar ult, very well played coming in from Burdol, who didn't find the lane lead that maybe we were expecting with the electrocute Mbessa, but is staying within, again, just 10 CS of his opponent. I think right now LGD are not too displeased, especially with the first dragon kind of going down. I wouldn't say super late in the game, but we're going to have what is supposed to be like a 14-minute dragon number 2, and that just means the game is not very fast. I think you're definitely okay with just getting items. You're getting a scaling Syndra, a potentially 3-item Kai'Sa, and that can be where this game gets really scary for EDG.
And we have a full court press on the top side from EDG. They've got 3 wards that they just threw down in this jungle. Xiaohao trying to steal away the Krugs, and they're looking at Burdol as a potential dive target. Crisp and Heng going to be in the area to cover, making sure that this does not come to fruition. But they, at the very least, are able to claim the jungle camps, and now just going to take their reset. Doesn't look like they're going to push for anything more.
Gordo, what do you think about the idea that if we are EDG, I think that might have been the wrong play? Just from a
I'm open to that idea.
We are 3 grubs and we have a Ziggs, and we're not willing to move him into a lane to get more plates. Like, he teleports bot lane, he gets 2 plates here, but we reinforce so many members on top side that now when both teams reset, we're both going to be heading into the bottom river, and that can just be really problematic. Great dodge coming in from Perukia with the hook shot.
Yeah, really important there. And, oh, Xiaoye and Leave going to find each other. Xiaoye thinks he's got the angle. Satchel Charge not going to be enough to get him away. Xiaoye just peppering him with these auto attacks, and with this passive proc, he's going to be able to find the solo kill. Meanwhile, Xiaohao drops down in the river fight. Tangyuan hits him with an unleashed power, and Crisp just holding these members down for kill after kill to be funneled into Tangyuan. Heng lands the wall, going to be able to keep Bulldog still. A triple kill to Tangyuan to start off his summer split.
And that is a huge win here for LGD. I talked about the Kai'Sa being able to find Leave. Leave was a full level up on his opponent, and he still got solo killed. That is the danger that you always have to live with versus a Kai'Sa. Doesn't matter that she hasn't completed her first item. And then the other side of the fight, Syndra is just getting paid. She's going to finish her first item on this recall. She has 67 stacks of her splinters, so she's getting her first evolve now, and all of those kills are just going to turbocharge this champion. A full level up, and by the way, Bulldog has still not completed the Rod of Ages at 12 minutes. That is pretty problematic here. Great dodges. Leave, you can't right-click when you're playing Ziggs. I'm sorry, it's just not the same champion.
And I'm nothing if not an honest caster, Alec. I was going to respond, had this fight not broken out, to your point about whether or not EDG is making the right choice by saying, hey, at least you get the 1v1 lane for the Ziggs into the Kai'Sa. You can try to push her back. You can try to harass from a safe distance. You can still get some plate gold bot. You can hold the Kai'Sa down. As long as you keep track of where Skarner and Rel are, you should feel safe to do that. Leave was not safe to do that. He makes one mistake, and he gives that kill right back over.
Does that count as a caster curse? I don't think it does. I feel like I literally called what was going to happen.
And it happens?
But by accident, yeah. Like, I saw the tree falling in the woods, so it definitely happened at this point. I think that's how the metaphor goes. I don't really know. Taking a look back at this game, though. We saw that fight, and I think we're starting to see it now. Again, Bulldog still not finished at that Rod of Ages. I'm getting more worried here, Gordo. This team does not have enough damage if they're not far ahead as EDG.
Speaking of not enough damage, can they finish Burdol here? Yes, they can. The combo into the wall off the back of the Gnar holds Burdol still for long enough for a full Xiaohao combo to be able to take him off the map. A 1.5k lead to ZDZ now ballooned up a little bit more with the addition of that first turret gold. And just like that, ZDZ has catapulted himself to the biggest individual gold lead in the game.
ZDZ is playing extremely selfishly. He's the one that's taking these top waves and not the Ziggs. Ziggs is going back mid lane. We just gave over 2 plates to the Syndra, and they can still do Dragon here. Again, 14.5 minutes. We have 2 Dragons, and both of them seemingly are going to be going over to LGD. It is a single kill in a turret. That is a lot of gold, but I still think this is a good trade here for LGD. Even if for the meanwhile, there is a gold lead starting to mount for this Gnar. ZDZ has had some really questionable team fights this year and has, I think, not been able to translate some individual leads from himself. So if he can do it this game, it definitely help build some more confidence, not only in this team, but also in his individual play.
Yeah, the need to be able to mark the flanking Gnar is now greater than ever. The problem is there's so many flankers that you need to mark. Xiaohao, Perukia, both going to be coming in from the sides, going to be looking to create some chaos to get these fights engaged off of, and ZDZ is able to capitalize on that opportunity with this fat gold lead. Can certainly pay off for them in the fights with or without the Dragons. LGD, though, feeling very good about how their carries are getting into this game. Gold leads on both Syndra and Kai'Sa. Tangyuan especially really cashing out on that bot river fight. Really going to need to lean on him for success. And to be fair, that's how LGD were able to beat EDG in the spring split as well.
Yeah. And said coming into this game that Flash was going to be the most important spell. That continues to be true. If we're talking about all these flanks and all these random angles you're going to find from EDG, who have a ton of burst but maybe don't have the best consistent DPS from this team, you need to have Flash. You need to be able to get away from some of these champions here. So right now, I think LGD, they've eaten up a lot of the gold lead that EDG had going into this. And while we're positioning for what could be a Herald fight, this can be very expensive for either team. For LGD, if you are able to survive and maybe just go for a mid turret here, I think you put yourself in a really good spot to fight for what is going to be a soul point coming up soon for this next dragon in 3 minutes. And if you can stop EDG from getting the turret, they're coming to you right now. They are the ones that are losing gold on the map.
Bulldog kind of far as they are starting off this Herald, and Perukia is found and blown up. Tangyuan finds his 5th, 5-0-0 on the Syndra as they secure themselves the Rift Herald. Mega Inferno Bomb comes on across. Xiaohao throws himself into 3, going to be able to force the flash out of Tangyuan, and Bulldog flashes forward with the Petrifying Gaze, slows up 2 members, but still cannot find the target to hunt down. There's the Fierce out of the Skarner, not going to be able to find a target as Heng falls. Burdol now stuck on the wrong side of the map. EDG will be able to hunt this man down sooner or later. They're going to funnel it into Bulldog.
They get 2 kills. They trade it out here, go 2 for 1, and it's still the Herald here for LGD. We're looking at this dragon in 2 minutes, and I still see a lot of flashes. Tangyuan and Shaoye still have access to this. We're starting to see that EDG are kind of getting gold leads. They might find Tangyuan.
Yeah, coming in on the flank. Tangyuan nowhere to go. This is a big shutdown for Bulldog, and he will claim it. Plenty of gold into that Cassiopeia. Cuts the gold lead by 600 in an instant.
All right, 2 minutes before Dragon now, and Tangyuan used Flash to get out of that. He's a 2-item Syndra versus what is essentially, I think, 1-item Cassiopeia. I don't care that her inventory tray is full. She has a 3-stack Rod of Ages at 17 minutes. That is not the place that you want to be on this champion here. Let's take a look back at this Herald fight. This is just a really good find from Tangyuan. Perukia just stepping up into Fog. He thought Leave might have been a little bit closer. And while this is rather extended, watching how EDG get through this team fight, I think is really, really strange. Like, Tangyuan basically gets kicked into safety. Bulldog and Leave can't do anything in this fight. This flash from Bulldog also, it means he's not going to have flash for this upcoming fight. This was a really uncoordinated objective coming in from EDG, and one where I think they felt like they needed to respond after losing the Camille early.
Yeah, another Impale missed by Heng. Not really able to create the space that his team needed. All in all, LGD, they're happy to get that Rift Herald, but they give up a fair bit, and the gold lead does continue to be clung onto by EDG. No signs of slowing down there as they get themselves into another favorable combat situation. And now 40 seconds to go on Dragon number 3. Can LGD keep this stacking alive? I think they're pretty confident in that position with this Syndra scaling into the game, getting those stacks, upgrading her abilities, and looking like they are going to be able to one-shot anybody that they find.
They have a 2-item Kai'Sa now for LGD. I think it's really, really scary if you're going to be playing as EDG. And the damage, the bulk of your damage right now is in the Gnar, who we even saw in that last fight did not get very much value, essentially just played a one-on-one versus Burdol in the top brush, and a 2-item Ziggs, who is great, but Leave is really known for his ability to right-click, and not necessarily his spell placement, so this is going to be a very, very important fight here, as now LGD need to fight into the Fog of War versus a Cassiopeia and a Ziggs. This is the advantage that EDG's comp has.
And EDG is just so comfortable keeping this going forever because now, while they're also doing well in the poke war, they're also dominating the one-on-one on the top side. But guess they got bored of that because they are TPing in ZDZ, and they say it is time to force onto this dragon right now. TP going to be matched by Burdol. Xiaohao going to be able to smite and secure the Scuttle Crab and retreat back over the dragon wall as it does begin to get aggroed by Shaoye. Approaching from the top side, EDG want to continue to land this poke, looking for an angle for Xiaohao. Peruka coming in on the bottom side. Who will pull the trigger? Perukia launching himself in. Max to get the ultimatum out of Tangyuan. He gets one shot by the damage out of Leave and CDC, and the mid laner has already fallen. That's where the majority of their gold advantage was on the LGD side. Big Gnar from CDC. Going to be able to hold down 3. No follow-up damage available, though. He's going to melt down soon. Public execution to the back line. Burdol going to be able to dance through the team. LGD managed to muster up the manpower, put together the damage, take the fight, win, despite losing the dragon.
Man, they take it, but now you have a Kaisa who's going to be able to get this Baron for themselves, and LGD, I think I was a bit worried with how the Rift Herald was placed, but then we see Burdol come in from the wings, he gets multiple knockups, and the team fight still goes their way. Really great job from LGD with this team composition, who are fighting back from early deficit and are really making a really good stand so far here in this game. Ooh. Again, that lead in mid lane, I think, is really becoming problematic here for Edward Gaming.
They did such a good job of blowing up Tangyuan to start off the fight, but Shaoye comes in and puts in the difference. He makes up for the absence of Tangyuan from earlier on, and he and Burdol both have damage to spare.
This huge Skarner ultimate, catching out the mid laner of EDG, and then, I mean, just look at the fight. We talked about for EDG, they have great burst, yes. They have okay poke, yes. But the consistent damage is not there when you have a Cassiopeia, who is also behind, and you have a Ziggs, who you can land spells, but if EDG get the catch on you, you're just not going to be able to play the game. So from this position, great job for EDG that they got the dragon. It buys them time. I just don't know if that is necessarily going to be relevant. If time is really the biggest objective here for LGD, they're okay with another 5 minutes in this game. EDG are the ones that need to push the pace, and I don't think they've played around having both the Ziggs and this Gnar's advantage.
Yeah, time on LGD side. EDG, and, you know, obviously everybody wants this all the time, but you'd really like to win the fight and take the dragon. Having to settle for one of the two, not where EDG want to be. An engage attempt on a Tangyuan gets flashed away from Perukia's dead. Heng gets CDC back into the wall. A huge shutdown to Xiaoye. And EDG, they just try to reach too much. They get their hands slammed in the cookie jar.
Every single piece of the cookie jar is now completely gone. There's no cookies left. Everything is gone. The entire pantry is empty at this point. And you're looking at ZDZ, cool, you have a gold lead, but now you're losing everywhere on the map. And even if they don't end the game on this push, there is still another top tier 2 coming in. LGD's composition is completely online, and EDG are completely floundering to find an answer coming into this game.
Look, Perukia, I get that time is on LGD's side, but into the Baron buff, that we just sent the whole game to try to make that pick happen. No inhibitor going to fall, but a mid-inhibitor turret will. And just like that, LGD's over 4,000 gold in the lead. That's the biggest lead anybody's had so far.
It's technically the biggest lead of Split 3. So we're making numbers here for day number 1.
Anybody is broad, yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. So, Gordo, this is a really good entrance here for LGD. I mean, we didn't, I think, talk about it in depth during the pre-show, but starting off your season with a win, very, very good. Obviously, winning is nice, but for some pieces that aren't or haven't been playing specifically for Crisp, or players that may be new to the team, being able to start off your season with a win, I think actually gives you so much of a lift, not only just in mood, but potentially in momentum as we go further, as we start into the Split 3.
Yeah, these teams had very similar spring splits. 3-2 match record for both of them. 50% game win rate for both of them. 6-6 for LGD, 7-7 for EDG. The head-to-head was a 2-0 for LGD, though, and they're looking to turn that head-to-head further in their favor in this game number 1, looking like they still have the upper hand up against this EDG lineup, even with 3 of the 10 players changing up.
Okay, so 40 seconds before this next dragon. I mean, we have 3 items coming in, plus a Zhonya soon here for Tangyuan. I'm assuming he's going to catch this next mid-wave and then potentially look to TP. Also is about 13 stacks, or essentially a full team fight away from getting a mini Rabadons and Execute from his passive. So EDG, you kind of need to win this fight, and then you also have to win the next fight in 2 minutes, and then you also probably have to win the next fight after that. So let's start doing some winning, boys. Let's start putting some dubs on the board.
Well, that's the only way out is through, and they're going to need to be able to get some good engages off. They just saw Tangyuan in mid lane, so a small window to be had here. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to capitalize. Here come the TPs from 2 different solo laners. Xiaohao going to try to get right on top of Tangyuan, going to be able to find a little bit of combo right on top of him. Bouncing bomb not quite going to connect. Mega Inferno bomb doesn't connect either. Tangyuan's dancing on him, refuses to get shut down, refuses to get found in the fight. Burdol's going to be the one who pays for his sins eventually. Will get zeroed out by EDG, and now Crisp caught inside of this alcove. He will be taken down as well. EDG, they don't find public enemy number 1, but they do take a 2-for-0 fight.
You know what? By any means necessary. If this is how you're going to win the fight, I don't really care. You know, let's just get a close game for the first one of the series, first one of the split. I am really, really surprised that EDG actually won that fight, because LGD, by all means, should have been able to win that. You had a Syndra who was getting pressured, but some abilities did not land from EDG, and now they get the second dragon for themselves. Double Mountain Drake, 10% bonus armor and MR. Feels good until you realize that not a bunch of these players are building any kind of resistances, so it'll bulk them up for the time being. I'm just trying to see. I guess no plasma procs get applied, so Kai'Sa can never dive in. And this setup onto Tangyuan. Okay, yeah, this is just illegal. Okay. I was worried about the bottom side of this fight. That is crazy. That is a good punish coming in from EDG.
Yeah. You know, Tangyuan, props to you for putting on the blue suede shoes, avoiding death. But you also avoided the fight, and your team needed you there, man. So he is going to end up being paid paying for his decision. That said, he gets paid right there as he picks off Perukia and will be able to take that Camille off of the map. LGD, the numbers advantage as the Baron is alive. They're going to go and try to snag that one up. Great position on the map for them. Be able to start this off.
Gordo, right before that last fight, I said they have to win this fight and the next one. This Baron is a little more tricky, though, and you still have the Seekers. You still have the Flash here for the Syndra.
Yeah, they can try to play this slow, though. Good poke coming out of Leave. Gnar into the wall. Heng going to get pulled in by the Baron. Baron getting involved in this combo. And we'll be able to keep the Skarner taken down to about a 3rd HP. Burdol going to have to come in and play sub
Show me the Baron health.
ZDZ scanning for Crisp. Finds him. This guy's still plenty strong. Baron gets taken down. Xiaohao able to steal it away. Kicks Heng back into the pit. ZDZ got the kill on a Crisp. It's a 4 versus 4. But it's a 4-point spread for EDG. They cannot get their team together and all split apart. They're going to all just have to run for it. Looking like they have a chance, though, to get all 4 members out. Leave in a little bit of
teleport.
danger.
He's out.
The TP. Can they find him? No, they cannot. Leave does as his name would imply.
Ooh, LGD, they are starting to feel that feeling that you have and that every single League player has had, where you're winning, you get back into the game, and then one mistake, suddenly the game gets flipped. I wanted to see the Baron, and there's a really good find coming in from Xiaohao and from Leave. Great coordination between the ultimates there, and this is just a really spread out fight. But now, LGD, yes, they've had the gold lead for, it's been about 10 minutes now, and this is now 2 fights in a row where EDG get out and basically hoodwink them. So, look, Shaoye, you have a 4,000 gold lead on a 4-item Kai'Sa. I need to see you step up. I need to see you find these different plays. Otherwise, we get, I think, into a really even game where still I favor LGD's comp, but if they're not going to play it, or if they're not going to look for these fights, or they're going to keep making these individual mistakes, then EDG are going to be able to fight back and maybe find a game win.
Yeah. Very, very small gold lead. Flash over the wall from Tangyuan. Can't find the pick onto leave. Will exchange summoner spells there.
No Flash Syndra versus no Flash Sigs. I think I'm going to give that to Tangyuan only because he has the Seeker's Arm Guard. If Leaf decides to pick one up, then I'll cut it down the middle and we'll just say we're even on that one.
Yeah. Do Tangyuan's 7 Darksteel stacks or Darksteel stacks factor into that at all for you?
Yes, I would say yeah. 7 is good. 7 is definitely bigger than 1. I definitely passed my grade 1 math class, so 7 is bigger than 1 for sure.
That's the limit of math you want to do on cast, but I feel some confidence in that one at the very least. And Xiaoye's going that heavy AP Kaisa build, and it feels like out of nowhere, LGD might be the superior poke composition against the Ziggs now. Like, they can fire away from such a long distance. And on top of that, they have this tankier front line. As long as they cover their flanks, it just feels so good to be LGD coming into this later game as you've scaled up, as you get items on your carries and items on your frontliners. EDG's options just dwindle away. They were not able to get this Camille snowball really going hard enough to win out in the early game, and now it just feels so stacked against EDG.
Yeah. Again, it's a fairly short-range comp outside of the Ziggs, and so you need to be really impactful with these hook shots. I don't know if we'll have time because we have Dragon spawning in 15 seconds. Meganar was popped here for ZDZ. He will not have this for this fight. Do EDG just decide, hey, we're not going to go for this, but they don't even have a mid-wave? LGD can just send Heng to do the Dragon, and then you're being able to stay on the mid-wave here. You'll get a turret as EDG, but I don't think you really want to be down and looking at a 5.5 minutes time, a soul that you're going to have to fight.
Yeah, LGD. They're going to get this one for free. I think the Mega Gnar had a lot to do with it there. The inner turret gold onto the Gnar going to feel good, but there's been a gold lead on this Gnar all game long.
Yeah.
They have not been able to make good on it out of ZDZ. Now LGD feels like just creeping towards a victory unless EDG can make the magic happen again. 2 minutes to go on that next Baron. Another secure on that would do a lot to put them back in.
We're playing the 4-on-4 in mid. Cassio is farming up bot lane. We have Syndra by herself top here. And you're always going to be in a really good spot. CDZ's going to mega out, but isn't going to look for too much. Technically, they could look for a small skirmish here and then transition into protecting Bulldog on this next wave. Okay, I got scared. Wait a minute.
Crisp, look at Crisp coming in with the Magnet Storm, kickback away by Xiaohao, one shot by him as well, but they do manage to make the pick on to leave. 1 for 1, feeling very good to be LGD here though, where Shaoye finds an isolated ZDZ and says your 3,000 gold lead means nothing. One shot by the Acathian Rain and that Plasma. LGD find themselves with 1-member advantage.
Wow, that's a very big win here. Crisp, great engage, and overall, yet another fight where EDG, they scatter, but they don't move as a team. They do not move as 5 into their own fog of war. Because they split up, it gives LGD the ability to find that fight. Great job from them. We go into Baron in 45 seconds, and Xiaoye used Flash to get that kill on Gnar. That can end up biting them, especially I look across the table, and we're getting closer to a 4th item here for Leave, and now we also have a Verdant Barrier here for Cassiopeia as well, by the way. Xiaohao has actually been fairly sneaky on this Lee Sin. He has 3 items, and he's really, really dangerous now with a Guardian Angel. So not only is this obvious fight going to be very big because it is the Baron, but that Baron buff is going to lead into the Dragon in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, neither team wants to give any ground here. This is not a place for donations. EDG win their last legs as they look to be able to try to fight their way back into this game number 1. If you lose this Baron, it's probably time to start thinking about game number 2.
Wow. We're getting 34 minutes. Gordo, it's the longest game of the split.
It is. It's the shortest game of the split, too, though.
Oh, I did not... Okay, so that just tells me that you are a glass half empty kind of guy.
Yeah, you know what? I've been an NA fan for a long time. I think that's fair.
All right, fair play. Fair bet.
Sounds about
fair.
right. I've been conditioned for this. As there's going to be Baron that started on up, taken to about half HP. Xiaohao trying to find his way in, trying to reprise his steal from last time, but this time he's going to be at half HP before he even sniffs the pit. EDG going to not be able to get in and contest. LGD will secure themselves Baron.
It's Kaisa, man. This champion is a freak of nature, and with those plasma procs, because you're playing AP, she's going to one-shot these big HP objectives. So Baron gone, and now you can push on top wave. You'll be able to spend this gold. You'll move into Dragon in a minute and a half, and LGD will be looking to not only take themselves a Mountain Soul, but look to take game number 1 here. You are very, very scary if you are playing against this playing as this Kaisa here for Xiaoye. Which, by the way, the AP build, I like this build. I know that we've also seen a lot of tech go into the Omnivamp, the Gluttonous Greaves here. It is really, really good because of how much burst and how much damage the Plasma procs give you, as well as just being able to have that damage coming in from the Static Shiv as well in the Minion Wave.
Yeah, feels pretty good. Be able to secure that for yourself, especially if you are able to farm up all of the stacks in time. Oftentimes in comp, feels like you can't get all the stacks on the Gluttonous Greaves, and you don't get to, especially now that they stack more slowly than when they first introduced them.
Yes.
But this is a 26-kill, 36-minute game. Xiaoye has no such concerns, and plenty happy to be rocking the Gluttonous Greaves in that context. So now they are going to look to siege onto this bottom inner turret.
Oh.
Look at that damage out of Xiaoye. It's crazy.
He didn't even finish the Plasma proc. That was just one application from the Kaisa W, and he's half HP. That's a bit problematic. And by the way, he's getting himself a Rabadon's. That's not a Verdant Barrier. That's not a Banshee's Veil. That's no MR coming in for this. So 7,000 gold lead now here for LGD, who now completely control this bottom side quadrant. There is a single ward here for EDG, and it is on their red buff. They're not going to get access to this Dragon Pit. They're going to need to basically walk Ass 5, and it's continuously been a problem so far just in this game.
Yeah. LGD, this is soul for them. EDG cannot give this up. They gave up the Baron. 7,000 gold in the tank. They need to get in, but they just can't do it. It's going to go the way of Heng. LGD, Mountain Soul, even stronger than before, and ready to march their way in.
Who cares about a Dragon Soul? I see 10 stacks on my Giants. That's bigger than last time.
It is. That's the gold efficiency threshold right there, baby. That's when you get that movement speed. It's when you aren't wishing you bought a different legendary item. And it's all uphill from here, unless you die.
I still think it might be uphill depending on what happens in the rest of the fight. I have a sneaking suspicion that if Tangyuan dies but he wins the game, this is actually a really fascinating question to me. Would you rather go like 0-10 and then win, or do you have a super highlight mega pop-off play but lose the game?
See, normally I would say the former, but I've been playing on a team with some of the other casters in a NA tournament.
Yeah.
And I've just been inting on stream every time. I'm becoming. I've gone 0-7 in wins on stream twice now, and I'm kind of starting to come around to number 2. I'm not the person I thought I was.
You're like, guys, I need to do a flashy play.
I'd kind of rather lose. I'd kind of rather lose and be praised for like 10 seconds.
All right, fair play, fair play. That tells me a lot about you. We'll talk about that off stream here. LGD. They're going to go and try to look for another siege. I mean, Perukia's looking. They try to sniff him out. They try to see where this Camille is going. Right now, EDG are holding on, but, I mean, this game is cooked. They don't really have the damage unless they get a miracle find onto Tangyuan and onto Xiaoye.
Yeah, they really do need to just get some crazy flank here. Perukia putting something in the oven, hoping to be able to produce some results, but LGD stay as a firm unit, covering one another, making it so that these options are not available. They spot Perukia as he gets past a control ward on the flank. And he's not even able to claim that ward before he's pushed on out. LGD keep their ranks solid, take another recall, spend some more gold, are ready to come in with the soul in tow to take. This is the 4th Baron this game. This one's going long.
Most Barons this split. I mean, that's an incredible tagline coming in for EDG. You get the longest, the shortest game so far, and you get the most amount of Barons in the split. I think that's truly an incredible stat line. We're doing great things with numbers on the stream today.
Yep. Yeah, the most dragons, too. They got a lot going for them.
I know.
In the stats department.
40 seconds before this Baron, as a low-key EDG fan, I really want them to survive for 3 minutes so we can get to Elder and then just completely flip the game as to who wins. But I think the Baron is going to force the issue, which is exactly why this buff exists for what it's worth. But just having the Baron and having EDG basically be forced to come and fight you or lose the game is enticing enough for Edward Gaming to try to find something.
Burdol, level 20, might be the target that they've been waiting for. They jump in with the Hextech ultimatum, calling in reinforcements, kicking him back into the team, but Xiaohao can't finish him off. Burdol so tanky, staying alive. The first one to drop is Shaoye. It's a 1-for-1 finally, but here come the LGD reinforcements ready to take the fight that they've been waiting for. Shaoye stepping up with a supercharger, gets a ton of damage on Anar. Into the Guardian Angel goes Xiaohao as he is found by the team and torn apart by Tangyuan. 2 more into the pockets of LGD as they launch themselves in onto the final 2. It's a double kill to Tangyuan. ZDZ, the last one standing. They've been funneling this Gnar all game long, and it was not enough. Ace to LGD to take home game number 1 of the summer split.
Well, guess what? We don't even need the Baron at this point. We're just going to find a fight in our bottom side jungle here, and LGD are going to get a really, really nice win. There were some worrying points here, but this Kai'Sa became a complete monster in the back half of this game, and Tangyuan, for as the few mistakes that we got from him, had a very, very clean game number 1.
Absolutely did. This needs to be a big split for Tangyuan if LGD want to be able to make their journey to Worlds a reality. And you know what? It's been said before, feeling like Tangyuan revival season could be in the air if he's able to keep putting up results like this. Had himself a really solid split with LGD in Group Nirvana. Last split, capped it on off with a nice win over Weibo. Showed some new aspects of himself, had some really good games in the series up against Thunder Talk. Now comes in with a good Syndra game to kick off the split. Things are starting to come up Tangyuan, man.
I want to be excited for him because he has been a player that has always been kind of lauded. Obviously, he comes in on RNG and is supposed to take over Xiaohu's seat. Yeah. Never a spot you want to kind of find yourself in as a player. And then RNG then kind of just never do anything. He actually gets relegated last year in Split 2, has one of the 2 teams that end out at the bottom of Group Nirvana. It wasn't a good look. I think he's found a lot of great success so far on this LGD team, specifically this year. I need to see it more, and I need to see it against top-level mids, because Bulldog, there's a reason why this guy got completely flamed after their WE series. I think in some of the big moments has not really delivered, and look, it's only the first series of the year, or the split, but I'm still seeing a lot of the LNG Bulldog that I got. Yeah,
and listen, it may have taken about 4 years. It might have outlived RNG as an organization, but finally, sending Weibo down to Group Nirvana, looks like Tangyuan has taken over for Xiaohu. It took a while, but he managed to do it at the end of the day. Let's see if he's going to be able to keep putting up some historical Xiaohu-esque results as this season goes on. So far, it is just 1 game, but an impressive game nonetheless. Shaoye also putting up some big numbers on the Kai'Sa, pulling his weight and more in that in that first fight where Tangyuan got picked off around the dragon, and never letting go of the reins from there.
An interesting stat that I would like to see at some point in the life cycle of League of Legends is damage at certain points in the game, because obviously I think depending on what champion you're going to be playing, a lot of your damage is going to be backloaded in the last half of a game, but this champion especially, huge numbers. And we'll get some of the greatest hits here for LGD in their game number 1. I would not be surprised to see Xiaoye get an MVP, but personally speaking, I think Tangyuan had a really, really good Syndra game, and I'm also a big softie for her. She's a fantastic mage.
Yeah, solid performance there. And, you know, so far in the battle of mages versus non-mages, Marksman going to take first blood in the split here. Xiaoye refuses to be pulled into the mage category and is paid off with a nice little win here up against the biggest bully in the mage department in that Ziggs, able to make Leave regret abandoning his principles here a little bit with how he was able to play that out.
Yeah, I think in theory this EDG team comp is fine for what it can do, but you just have to think also about your player profiles themselves, right? Like, Leave is a good AD carry marksman player. He is not the best mage player. And yes, Ziggs has kind of been the go-to, like, okay, every AD carry decides, like, the one mage that they're going to put time into is going to be Ziggs for the most part, but I would prefer to just see him on a marksman. It's kind of similar to some of our engage players, like Perukia even. I'd rather see him on engage than have to play, like, the mages, even champions like Bard, who he has started to put some time into this split, or this year. So it just didn't work for the players that they have, and it kind of sucks because we also just didn't, I think, play the map right. There was a lot of gold going into the Gnar, and I just don't agree with that as a principle, especially from how that comp wants to interact, at least in my mind.
Yeah, or at the very least, I'd want to watch it back on the VOD. There was that moment around the third dragon coming up where LGD just did not have favorable positioning around the dragon. EDG had ZDC in a 1v1 up the top side, where he has like a 2,000 individual gold lead. He's pressuring the inner turret. They have control over the dragon as well. They're preventing LGD from getting in. They're threatening with poke. They're still the stronger poke team at that point in time. And for some reason, they're the ones who just rip the TP and say, let's go and 5v5 stand in the river. And they end up losing the fight after that and kind of give up a huge amount of their lead. It felt like they had a chokehold on the game right there, and they could have just held that and built up a bigger lead and leveraged the lead they had on CDC, and they opt not to do it. As first instinct is that was not the right choice, but I would need to go back and see it again.
And another game where ZDZ has a great individual lead and is not able to translate it into the team. I still have yet to see this guy be a really... What the... Huh? I mean, Crisp had a great game, but this feels like a legacy vote. This feels like a name on paper vote coming through.
This feels like a welcome back,
yeah.
friend. You know?
Yeah.
This is a welcome home gift, perhaps. As I mean, my man had that flash over the wall to start a fight when they were already up 5k gold. That's
Did we
something.
have a control wards bot stat? Is that what we're doing? That's going on the MVP graphic. Control wards bot this game. 37. Legend.
If solo queue Aegis
Oh,
can have it, so can pro play, baby.
4 votes. Winners Club and Casters split for bot lane. And then referee... Why does the AI get a vote?
That's crazy.
That's crazy. I mean,
That's
look,
a
the AI
glimpse into the future right there, baby.
Computer, generate me an MVP vote. Okay, we're going to mid lane. I never thought I would find myself arm in arm with another AI, but whatever.
You're getting an unfortunate insight into the future of democracy right there, brother.
We're gonna get banned. We're gonna get banned. We got to do the read. We got to do the
AI,
read.
one vote. All right. Yeah, before we send it over into the break, let's give a quick shout out to another way you can support your favorite human creators. It's the LPL English coffee. Best way to support the LPL English projects is the vast majority of your contributions will go directly to the show. It does help us pay our on-air talent and content creators. You can subscribe to the coffee linked in chat to unlock perks like early access to content and the ability to ask interview questions for our unique on-site interviews, which are going to be nice and easy this coming World season as we get a World Championship in North America where plenty of our commentators are based. So that's going to be a lot of fun. You'll want to be involved in that this time around, and the coffee is the way to do it.
Well, looks like we're kind of done. We're going to go and hopefully generate some good views and maybe a little bit of a rest as we're getting ready for game number 2. You won't want to go anywhere. We'll have LGD versus EDG after this.